And now, last but not least, I would like to welcome Lukáš and Petr. They have presentation about building data application for all. And I would like to emphasize Lukáš and Petr because they are special. They were not on our banner for this promo, so you see them actually for the first time. So guys, stage is yours.
Thanks for the intro.
Raz, dva, tři.
Okay. So now you should see our slides. Great. And then we can start. Okay, hi everyone. Honza already introduced us, but my name is Lukáš, and here's my colleague Petr. We are both working as UX designers here at GoodData. And in our final talk, it's fourth one and the last one before it's over, or not over, it's time for the beer. We will talk about building not only data applications for all. And in the first part of today's meetup, there were two presentations about AI, and I want to, talk about it a bit more. When there are these new ways how to interact with technology, and there are these new types of interfaces, not only the chat interfaces, but other ways how we consume data and how we consume information, it's still important to think that even though all the information, all the knowledge can be just a prompt away, it works only if you can use mouse, you can use keyboard, you can see the screen, right? And you can hear the audio. So that's why we want to talk about why we think that accessibility still matters and how it can look in practice. And I will start with a little confession. Back in my internship days, that's already a couple of years ago, I often designed solutions based on my knowledge and skills. Most of the time thinking that I know the best what is good for the users, right? For myself. But there is the problem, there is the catch. If I use my own abilities and my own skills as a baseline, I create something that might work for me, that might be useful for me, but it's challenging for the other people, right? And eventually it can exclude some people. And talking about exclusion, I did a little research during the break, and there were not that many people who has experienced some arm injury, like broke their arm, but I hope there are at least some that can relate to how it can be really cumbersome to go through your daily life if you break your arm. That's not something that you usually plan to do, right? And then it changes everything, right? You struggle with your daily chores, and some things that are, that you take as granted eventually are really hard for you. And that's my point, that the exclusion can be sometimes temporary, that even small injuries, something that we are not planning, can really change dramatically how you can interact with the world around you. Think also about just looking into bright light, something that usually normal people don't do, but it sometimes happens, and then you just don't see for a couple of seconds, a couple of moments, but you just lose the ability to see. And sometimes exclusion can be also situational. Throughout the day, we go through different environments. Think about busy public transportation, and you meet your friend and you want to talk to them about something cool, but you can't because it's just too loud. You can't hear each other. So you have to wait until you get out of the tram, and then you can continue with the discussion. So the point is that everyone sometimes are excluded. And even though designing for people with permanent exclusion or disabilities might seem like, something that is maybe blocking you or that's taking too much time, it's important to think that including these people is also including many more other people who might be not permanently disabled, but also temporary or situational. And I want to mention one more example. That's closed captioning. That's technology that was, it's like subtitles, but with also the context, like what's happening with the sounds and the atmosphere, right? So that was something developed for the community of hard of hearing. But I think nowadays everybody is using it some kind of sense. Everybody can imagine that you are going through subway, through metro, and you are watching your video, but suddenly your earphones battery dies, and closed captioning can save your day. But it's not only about people, also business can benefit from inclusive design, because you are now making the experience better for more people. The customer satisfaction is higher, and you can eventually expand your audience reach. So there are like more people actually happy, and your business can grow. And more on the administrative side, there are more and more legal restrictions and obligatories that you need to comply with some sort of standards. So including inclusive design from the beginning can also decrease the legal risks. And now, when you kind of like understand why inclusive design and accessibility matters, you might ask yourself, how do you know when something is accessible? How do I actually tell if I'm not the one to judge, right? Or at least not for the full spectrum of exclusions. And that's testing. And there are many ways how you can test for accessibility of digital products. Usually you follow some accessibility standards and you want to comply with them. And there are many of them, but I want to mention one. So if you are working on projects that don't have specific requirements, there is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, for short WCAG. And there's really a nicely categorized set of criteria that you need to follow in order to be compliant and in order to make the product accessible. But don't worry, you don't need to do it all manually. There are some tools like the dev tools in Chrome where you can run an accessibility audit, but the automation tests available are never enough. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more situations that you can't just automate. You need to do manually, and preferably you need to test with people that have this exclusion. And now that was the first part of our presentation, and I will pass the word to Petr, who will show you what building accessible products can look like and how it also might like if a product is not optimized for accessibility and somebody with some restriction tries to access it.
Yeah, thanks, Lukáši. Can you hear me? Perfect. So that was the, let's say, theory part. In the practical part, we prepared for you a dashboard because we are a data company. Actually, not just one dashboard, but two dashboards. They seem visually identical, but in fact, they are not. For somebody who can see, the difference is massive. And I would like to show you their experience. So let's try to simulate it. I'm gonna use screen reader, which is built into Mac OS. This is something which you can try on your own. You don't have to buy anything. It's free, and you definitely should try your product how it works with this screen reader. So let's try it again.
VoiceOver on Safari. Accessible sales dashboard window. Accessible sales dashboard. Web content has keyboard focus.
Sorry for that loud sound. I will shut it down very quickly, but I would like to show you at least some of the experience somebody who cannot see has. So you might assume that somebody using screen reader actually used it for reading a screen, just one line by line, but this is not in fact true. The usage is based on shortcuts, based on high-level summaries of the page, and the goal is to get to the right information quickly without the reading most of the page. So to help that, screen readers have a lot of useful features. So we can show a couple of them.
Department dashboard.
Okay. So
Indicators. Dashboard.
it could be kind of finicky, you know, as you can see. So I will try
Voiceover off.
I will try it.
Voiceover on Safari. Accessible sales dashboard. Window spots menu.
Yeah, this is the stuff I wanted to show you. Basically, all of the screen readers provide some kind of summaries. You can see now this window spot menu is actually used to control this part of the screen. I can jump between toolbar. I can navigate
tab bar. 2 tabs group.
between tabs,
Toolbar.
etc. And this is not everything. I can
Links
obviously
menu. On item. Open data table for sales growth by market segment.
I can obviously see all the links and etc. I will shut it down now because I understand that it might be confusing. And from now on, you can actually read the information on the screen. So to illustrate the point, what the user typically do when he cannot see, he look for kind of semantic information. He looks for something which will help him understand what this page is about. And this is good example. You can see that this dashboard has some kind of structure visually, and the screen reader trying to simulate this for the user. So I can see here that the headings tell me that this is sales dashboard. It has some filters, and it has some KPIs information, and I can also see that it has some trends. And I can very quickly get to, let's say, most important information for me, it's total accounts. So I can get to it and very quickly learn that the total accounts is 2,104. So this is one example of the features which are provided by the screen reader and which are possible only if the page is optimized. I can show you some other. Let's say you are interested into the chart. This might be a good example because you might assume that somebody who cannot see the chart is unusable for him, but this is not true. If you provide correct out information, he can learn what the chart is about. So here is an example that he can learn that this chart is showing some breakdown into the health, finance, and tech segments, etc. And to put it, or go a little bit further, you can also provide something like data table link, which could be browsed outside of this experience. So this is for many situations better than trying to describe the chart, because the user can go line by line and navigate in the table as he chooses. So this is the experience in the optimized way, the optimized dashboard. Let's see how it works in the, let's say, less accessible dashboard. You can see that I have only the form control, nothing else is provided. And now I would like to show to you what is the difference in the code. So let me try to do that. Okay. I know that most of you are developers, so this is not really code for you, but for us UX designers, HTML is a code. So just to illustrate the example, here you can see that I semantically correctly define the header in the optimized dashboard, and you can see the same example here on the right, that it's using just a div. So for the screen reader, it's very hard to actually know what this part of the code is about, and I'm making it easier for the reader if I use correct HTML. And the same goes for headings, for basically any markup which has some meaning. And there is obviously a lot of situation where you have to use markup which inherently doesn't have any meaning, and you are building something from scratch from divs. But in this situation, you can actually use something called aria role. This is something like extra to the markup, which you can use to describe those elements which don't have typically the meaning. So you can see here for example, this section doesn't have any meaning, but if I put area label filters, the screen reader actually read filters if I visit this part of the page. And another, let's say, interesting way how to provide more meaningful information to user without ability to see the page is to provide him some additional information. You can see here in this part, we are making a summary of this difference on the dashboard. I can show you the what this is about. This is basically this element, and it might be enough for somebody who can see, but for somebody who cannot, it's very beneficial if you describe it a little bit more clearly, that this is 20% increase compared to the previous period. And this could be again done with the area roles. I can skip the previous element by hiding it by this area role, and to leave the screen reader read only the second part. And the same example might be provided to the chart itself. You can see that it's very easy. Just provide the alt information, and the reader actually describe what the chart is about. Yeah, so that's it from the practical part. I can finish the presentation with saying that accessible application work better for everyone. So please try to think about everyone. Thank you. Any questions?
There are two questions in Slido. The first one is, how many UX designers are there in your staff?
There are 5. Thank you, Petře. Do you include yourself?
Another question is, any suggestions on working with accessibility trees?
You can definitely use built-in support in Chrome. They recently improved it a lot. I can not say much more than that. We are still experimenting with this part. So just read about it a little bit more.
But I think it's a nice way how to visualize how this, screen will be then read or understood by a screen reader, for instance. So again, it's all built in, for instance, in Chrome, and you can, in the accessibility tab, render the accessibility tree, and so you can see, the semantic interpretation of the page. Yeah. So again, we have not only the questions, but there is this link. There's a great accessibility developer guide where there are many more examples, and not only the basic stuff that we showed to you today, but also for people maybe that already have some knowledge around accessibility, the most modern ways how to approach it, and also maybe tips and tricks how to do it. I would really recommend it. It's a great resource. Yeah, that's a great question. The question was like how much time and effort it is actually to make something accessible. I don't think I have a number for the accessibility, like how much is an effort, but I believe that if you think about it from the beginning, right? If you include it in your developer workflow, and I was mentioning these automation tools, it's not only about audits, it's also about some things that you can include as you code, like some lint tools, something that you can actually include in your pipelines that will be checking, hey, is this actually passing the tests? I believe that the effort is really minimal.
Yeah, okay, I will read the question. Can you use AI for testing accessibility? GPT-4 can access the web now. Yeah, that's true. We haven't tested GPT-4 to help us with accessibility, but again, this could be considered automatic testing at best. If you count in the hallucination which GPT is known for, I wouldn't rely on it for sure. And it's leave again the need for manual testing, because you cannot actually do it properly with just these language models.
Thanks. I think the second one The first one, yeah. Have you considered employing your AI colleagues and creating a solution for automatically alerting components to add accessibility features? Okay, that's an interesting use case about how connecting the AI and accessibility. But I again believe that there are already some automated tests there, and maybe you don't really need AI for that. As Vašek was mentioning, usually the standards, there are like set of criteria that are really specifically defined. I would again mention the WCAG. It's really, there are code examples, things of do and don't, so you can do it. And also in this accessibility developer guide, there are already links on existing tools that are, for instance, also open source that you can use in your projects. But yeah, maybe we can talk about it over beer. We have another hypothetical question. Don't you think that AI-powered screen readers, I haven't seen one yet, that can understand what is on the screen could render these ARIA attributes obsolete? Yeah, nice hypothetical question. I believe that still maybe AI can't comprehend the whole context, and sometimes getting this shortcut into the thing that you want, because you are kind of like describing also the content for the AI, right? So you're helping also the AI to read the stuff. So I believe that still giving some meaning to the code helps, not even people, but also AI.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the end of presentations, but this is not the end of Meetup. There will be plenty of food, drinks, time for networking. Thank you for attending, and I would also say that we have LinkedIn, Twitter, also GoodData communities. So if you have any questions or are you interested in something, please reach to us. We will be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you.